What do you think, Brody? Just because you label something with specific terminology doesn't necessarily mean that it reflects reality.
Right. Which is why I
like
say
a YouTuber
created
this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm having fun with the conversation, but I also think every single alpha that I've met in my life, other than you guys, sorry, not every single alpha.
Thank you. I'm an alpha.
No. Let me say something a little bit more precise.
Yes.
Every single man that I've met who's called himself an alpha and made a point to say
Alphas
it out
don't
loud.
call themselves alphas.
They don't. Has been the most triggered by an independent woman or by any kind of retaliation to that opinion. Like they cannot hold their own without getting emotional.
That's a gamma trying to get up into alpha class is what that is.
Ooh.
For example, they might kick women off of their show
but I do,
because they can't contend with them.
Well, wait.
No names have been named.
Hold on. Where do you think that that's them being emotional or trying to establish rules?
Two things. I think trying to establish rules, that would insinuate that you're having a conversation with somebody who needs to be trained, which I disagree with.
Trained.
Secondly, I also think that on that show, there's more of not that show specifically, any show that we're talking about ambiguously, there's an emphasis on, there's a huge emphasis on getting views. And what gets views is making a drama. So if, for example, somebody says that she believes that her husband or her man should cook as well, and you get so triggered by that you have to kick them off of your show, to me that is very telling about the kind of man that you are.
So you're saying that person is not an alpha, and in reality, it might be a gamma pretending
I don't
to
put
be an
labels
alpha?
on people like that. That's,
Okay.
that's the only
Which,
thing.
by the way,
I'm looking for labels here. To be honest with you, I want labels so I can understand this.
I know, and a lot of people do. They want the step by step. They want give me something identifiable.
Well, here's what,
that I can
and I appreciate your point. I do, and nobody likes to be labeled, and we don't like generalizations. But I do would like to see who fits into these categories. That's all I'm looking for.
Which is why I always say I don't. Like, I mean,
I
I understand this, but when you read my work and I say alpha or beta, I distill it down to those two. I don't use those.
It gets complicated.
I understand it, and I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying, again, it's like, how do you, like, there's the alpha as a demographic, and then there's the alpha as like a mindset. So
got it.
Where does that fit into something like this? That's why I have like people say I'm a sigma. Well, no, you're not a sigma. You just want to be out. You think you're like
outsider.
You think you're like Johnny Depp or something. You think you're outside of the system, and you're really not. You are in the system, and the very fact that you would call yourself a sigma or call yourself an alpha or call yourself a whatever. That to me says that you're, well, a king, a rich man doesn't have to tell you he's rich. You get you by his demeanor, by his how he speaks, what he's wearing, everything else. You can get that. A guy doesn't have to come in there and go, I'm really rich. Like when you're talking about, have you ever lied about your income or whatever? I've never been in the position where I've had to do anything like that. But like if I walk into a room or you walk into a room, or like if you're dressed down, people don't know, like say a guy like George Gammon is like a multimillionaire because he just dresses in like, a jacket and a t-shirt and everything. So you don't really get that from him, but he doesn't go in there and say, hey guys, I'm Michael $1,000,000. He doesn't do that.
That's
because it's his... Exactly. You don't. Alpha doesn't have to.
Confident guy doesn't say, "I'm confident."
He doesn't have to tell you
Makes
stuff.
sense.
Like you get it.
All right. Well, thank you for breaking this down. I think we all have a better understanding.
Yeah.
And gentlemen out there, Tyler.
This is your education.
We got a super chat here and a question for Brody. Okay. So if you heard the term, it's two parts. If you heard the term alpha female and women to referring to themselves that way, and do you feel the same negative reaction about alpha female as you do about alpha male?
That's a really good question. I think that some women in the States, and this is something I've noticed because I'm foreign, even though I don't sound foreign, I've noticed that a lot of women here are so, they're so intent on being these strong, independent women, and they kind of ignore some of the things that could possibly make them very happy because of it. Some women are really predisposed to be better at being alpha females, and some women are not. But for me, I'm a very independent woman. I'm very strong. But I recognize that the things that I'm attracted to, or the way that I'm predispositioned to be, is very nurturing, loving, caring. And it's okay to recognize that. I think some women, how do you say la criche? Fuck, sorry. How do you say they push it away? What's the word for that?
Resistant, averse.
They resist? Okay.
Yeah, they're averse to it, even though it's their natural inclination.
But
Well said.
do you think that the alpha, like, does it give you the same like we hate the alpha beta thing like that, like disgusts us. But when you hear alpha woman, is it like go and get that bag?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
What do you mean go and get that bag?
Like go sis, like killing it when you call a girl an alpha woman. Because the viewer was asking, like, do you feel the same way about it for like between genders? I think it is really different.
If a guy tells you he's an alpha male, like you were just saying a second ago, like, oh, I've never met a guy who calls himself an alpha male actually be an alpha male.
It's gross.
But when a female says I'm an alpha female, does that give you that same? Do you like go, oh, you're full of shit?
It makes me think that they're afraid of forming connections with the opposite sex. And I think it's the same with men, by the way, who say they're alpha males. I think that they enjoy the company of a woman physically, but I don't think they enjoy having conversations with them. I think it's the same with women who call themselves alpha females. We need each other. We have to recognize that we need each other. Some people might be better having the woman be the provider and the man be the nurturer. It doesn't matter, but the general population is not that way. And it's okay to recognize that and to lean into it.
I've never heard a woman call herself an alpha female. However,
I
will say I've heard countless women say, I'm a bad bitch. All my bad bitches. Where my bad bitches at? Is that the same thing of being a bad bitch and an alpha? I don't need no man. I'm a bad bitch.
You could argue independent is alpha too.
See, and I know where that guy was going with this. Is I get this all the time because like women will say, "Oh, I would never get with the guy who calls himself an alpha male. Oh, he's using it unironically." That's why that's why I had to make the distinction. But like, okay, how about a high value male? How about Captain America versus Iron Man? Whatever. When I talk about those things, there are so many podcasts and so many shows saying, "Oh, the alpha male has been debunked, and here's why, and here's the studies and everything else." And those are the same people that if a woman comes in there and calls herself an alpha female, they're like, "Oh yes, of course, there's an alpha female. Yes, gotcha. You go, girl." That's what it ends up being. So there can only ever be an alpha female, but there's no such thing as an alpha male. And I'm like, that to me says more about the mindset of the people who are describing all of this than it does about the actual definition or the actual abstraction that is alpha. So my point was this, is that there's no such thing as an alpha female. There is only alpha men. So the things and the qualities, the attributes, the characteristics that make a woman independent. She's got her own business. She's got her degree. She's got, and statistically speaking, more women are in college. More women are earning more money. From a numbers perspective, this is all backed up. But when women can't get the guy that they want to, like maybe they're nurturing, right? They want to embrace that feminine side, but they can't get to it because for the better part of their lives, they've been turned into the men that they want to marry. They are the alpha male with tits and vagina. That's what they are. And so they wonder, well, where's my guy? Where's the guy who wants to be my equal partner and go off into family land and have babies and everything? And they find that the guys that would be their equal or would be higher than them don't want to have anything to do with them because they're not feminine. Those guys are looking for women who are feminine women. And that's the number one problem that I deal with right now when I'm dealing with like when I'm counseling women, is like, Rollo, I can't find the right guy. She's like in her 30s or whatever, and but I did everything right. I did everything society ever told me to do. I went to college. I got my degree. I've got my business going for me. I got to freeze my eggs because I can't find Mr. Right, and they're building themselves up into this alpha ideal, but that ideal is based on a male archetype. The real alpha female is the one. It's not Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook. It's Renee Summerfield. It's the swimsuit model. Okay, because that is the apex of femininity. That's the highest top of that pyramid that we're looking at for femininity. So if we're going to define alpha or beta in a masculine or a feminine term, if you are a bad bitch and you've got your shit together and you make your own damn money, you're basically a man. And generally, heterosexual men don't want to get with other men.
Boom, let's just pause right there for 1 second. You said that is the number one problem that you're facing. The people
when I'm counseling women.
Okay, so I don't want to skip over that. If that's just the number one thing that you're seeing, you're seeing a 30-something-year-old woman who is relatively successful and is educated, has not had kids yet, and she's the breadwinner in the family, or no family, but she's doing her thing. She's quote unquote a bad bitch. And she's wondering why she can't find a high quality man, high value man. That's the problem. Explain that exact thing for a second.
I did a show. I did a recent show about, maybe it was about 6 weeks ago. Had Steve Harvey was on there, and some chick in the audience stood up, and I think she was like 35 or 36 years old, and she was there with her mom. And she was explaining that she was, did everything the right way. She was 35, 36 years old. She stands up and she's, very religious. She's like, I'm, praying to the Lord for the right guy. But I did everything, Steve. I got my college degree. I've got my money is down. I think I'm a great person. I'd be a great catch. And of course, Steve Harvey just kind of fumbles through the whole thing. But I'm watching this. And the reason why I use this as a critique was she's representative of certainly a demographic of women right now who are in the same boat. They don't understand why they can't find a guy who is up here when they've turned themselves into the man they want to marry as it is.
I believe that's exactly what Steve Harvey said, is that you are the man that you're looking for.
You are the man you want to get with.
Damn.
And that's really, and that's tough medicine.
So what's the ideal woman then?
Well, and so here's my point is the problem I run into is when I talk to these women, like I have hope for you. You're 23, the same age as my daughter, by the way.
Both these girls are young, attractive, and smart. So what's your advice for them?
She was just saying, it's okay. Don't be averse to the feminine, right? Yeah. When we're talking to a woman who's like 31, 32, 33 years old, and you tell her that, and for her entire life, she's like, I'm professional. I've done everything by the book. I've done everything society told me to do to be a bad bitch, to be an alpha female, to be a strong, independent woman. Registered trademark. And now I can't find the right guy. It must be men's fault because they're not living up to my expectations. And my only recourse is to say, well, you need to feminize yourself, right? You need to get in touch with your inner female or your inner feminine. Like we always tell guys, oh, you need to get in touch with your feminine side or your emotions and everything. It's the opposite. I'm trying to tell somebody who is been masculinized to get in touch with their feminine side. And for me to do that, particularly as a guy, it sounds like I'm saying, dumb yourself down, be dumber. Because femininity seems dumb to that particular demographic of women, and that's hard to do. So they're resistant and they're averse to hearing what I have to say. Yeah, 30 plus
so
usually.
She's ladies as being in your early 20s, how do you feel about that?
Women, just like you said in the beginning of this podcast, you said that part of the human condition is you need discontent. You have to be constantly passionate about something. Women are the same way. If that's education. And in most cases it is. There's a reason that a lot of women are taking over universities because we love getting educated. We love learning. We love this. But we've for some reason, feminism has gotten us to a place, and I still consider myself a feminist, but in America, it's gotten us to a place where it's like toxic feminism. In the same way that there's toxic masculinity and men only want young women who are going to be quiet. Women don't want men who are going to be...
Wait, what's toxic masculinity?
The way that I would categorize the people that I was describing before, these like alpha males who describe themselves as alpha males.
Wait, so a definition would be an alpha male is like the macho.
Well, my definition for toxic, first of all, toxic masculinity is a term that I would only use in very, very specific situations. I think it's overused. But I also think toxic masculinity manifests itself in a lot of young American men who are pursuing women in the wrong way and then being frustrated by the results because they just don't understand that women are equal human beings to them.
Okay.
How are they approaching women in the wrong way?
I think people who listen to certain radio shows and what their understanding is, all I need to do is flash my money and work out and get a woman, and if she's talkative and she's arguing with me, like they put labels on women like argumentative or masculine or this and that, and I've been labeled all of those things, and I don't see myself as that. So I think that the reason that they see that is because they see women as competition. They're not comfortable enough with their own. I don't know if the word I'm looking for is masculinity, but like their own ability to be a good partner, that they just want a pet instead of an equal partner. Also, this entire conversation, we're also not really addressing the LGBTQ community, and that's where I say like feminine and masculine traits, which you can define that, nurturing feminine or whatever. lesbian couples sometimes
it's not gender exclusive.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
They know that.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying when we're talking about like alpha male and alpha female, I think that what we're talking about is relationship dynamics, and that somebody needs to be the provider and somebody needs to be the nurturer. That's the way it works.
That's why you always see it.
Sub. That's why.
Yeah, in lesbian couples, there's. I don't want to get canceled right now, but it's typically like the prettier feminine one, and then
the
like
power
the
dynamics
the
work.
butcher,
masculine and
short-haired
feminine
lesbian one.
Masculine and feminine will still. It's a human condition. It will still exemplify itself or manifest itself even in homosexual relationships. There's
It's
there's the butch dyke, and then there's the feminine sub dyke. Yeah, the lipstick one.
Lipstick
right?
lesbian.
And so one assumes the masculine role. Hell, there was a what was it? I think it was Oprah Winfrey was doing a show way back about like sexual fluidity in women. And suddenly they go like from like being 39, 40, 41 years old, somewhere around there, and they suddenly discover that they're lesbians. And they can't find a dominant masculine man to be part of their lives. And so what they do is they look for a dominant masculine butch female to sort of fulfill that role.
Yeah.
And the reason why she was doing that show was because it was so common that she had to. They wanted to address that. And the problem that you run into is then, is she born that way, or is she just pushed into that position because of her circumstances and her situation?
What do you think the answer is?
That's the jury's still out on that.
Well, according to Lady Gaga, she was born that way.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you're going to ask me personally, I think that it's a behavioral response to conditions more than
after 40
else.
years, you just realize
there's got to be some sort of sexual fluidity.
But
like,
we
it
still
can't just be I'm straight and now I'm gay. It's,
Yeah, well, that's the thing is okay. Well, if that's fine, then do I get to say, well, suddenly I'm gay and then I'm not gay today or whatever? Is it the subjective definition for whatever you feel, or is it a biological condition? Because up to this point, that's all we've been saying. I was born this way. My genetics, I can't help feel but the way I do. And I believe them, but I think it's behavioral, not necessarily a genetic thing.
Okay. Yeah.